The Great Hall was silent as the human delegates walked in. Admiral Park Jun-ho kept his back straight and his face calm. Beside him, Ambassador Lee Yuna moved with quiet grace. They represented Earth at the Galactic Council, a gathering of the most powerful species in the known universe. The hall was enormous. Thousands of seats rose in circles around a central platform. Strange creatures filled those seats. Some had scales. Others had too many eyes. A few floated in liquid tanks. All of them watched the two humans walk to their small section at the far edge of the chamber. Humanity had joined the Interstellar Coalition 83 years ago. In a galaxy where civilizations measured their age in thousands of years, humans were babies, newcomers. The other species never let them forget it. Junho sat down and looked around. He had spent 30 years in Earth's fleet. He had seen battle. He had lost friends. But nothing prepared him for the cold hatred in the eyes that watched him now. The session began. The Valari High Speaker rose to the central platform. He was tall and thin, with silver skin and black eyes that showed no warmth. The Valari controlled most of the trade routes in this sector. They were old and powerful, and very proud. "We will now discuss the matter of mining rights in the Kepler Belt," the High Speaker announced. His voice echoed through the hall. Yuna stood up. She had practiced her speech for weeks. Earth needed those mining rights. The resources would help build new ships, new stations, new hope for human colonies struggling to survive. "Honored members of the Council," Yuna began, "Earth respectfully requests consideration for mining access in the Kepler Belt. Our colonies have grown. Our people need resources. We have followed every rule. We have paid every fee. We ask only for fairness." She sat down. Junho watched her hands. They were steady. She was stronger than most people knew. The High Speaker made a sound that might have been laughter. "Fairness," he repeated. "The humans speak of fairness." The chamber stirred. Junho felt something cold settle in his stomach. "Let me tell you about humans," the High Speaker continued. He walked slowly around the platform. "They came to us less than a century ago. They were burning their own planet, fighting their own kind. They could barely reach their own moon without killing each other." Laughter rippled through the hall. Junho clenched his jaw. "Now they want the Kepler Belt, one of the richest mineral zones in the sector. They want us to trust aggressive primates who are barely capable of basic warp travel."
Asked for laughter.
Louder this time. Yuna stood again. "With respect, High Speaker, humanity has changed. We have proven ourselves. Our ships patrol the outer sectors. Our scientists contribute to coalition research. We have earned our place." The Morvathi delegate rose from his seat. He was massive, covered in thick brown fur, with arms like tree trunks. The Morvathi were warriors. They respected strength and nothing else. Earned. The Morvathi growled. "What have humans earned? You are weak. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are toys. You exist because we allow it." He spat on the floor. The wet sound echoed in the sudden silence. Joe started to rise, but Yuna grabbed his arm. Her grip was iron. "Not here," she whispered. "Not now." The High Speaker smiled. At least Junho thought it was a smile. "I believe we have heard enough. Let us vote on the human request." The voting took less than a minute. The result appeared on the massive screen above the platform. Earth's request was denied. Not a single species had voted in their favor. But the High Speaker was not finished. "There's another matter," he said. "The Council has concerns about human behavior. Reports of aggression, unauthorized expansion, violation of trade protocols." Yuna frowned. "What reports?" "We have received no complaints. We have violated nothing." "The evidence is classified," the High Speaker said, "but the Council finds it convincing. Therefore, we vote to reduce Earth's trade privileges by 40%, effective immediately." The chamber erupted in noise. Aliens cheered. Some stamped their feet or tentacles. The Morvathi delegate made a gesture that Junho knew was deeply insulting. Yuna stood frozen. 40%. It would cripple Earth's economy. Colonies would starve. Ships would go unbuilt. People would die. "This is wrong," she said. Her voice was barely a whisper. "This is so wrong." Junho took her arm. "We need to leave. Now." They walked out of the chamber. Every step felt like a mile. Behind them, the celebration continued. Junho heard someone call out in a language he did not understand. The tone was clear enough. Mockery, contempt, hatred. They reached their ship in silence. The door closed behind them, and Yuna finally let herself shake. "They planned this," she said. "They planned all of it. The denial. The sanctions. They wanted to humiliate us." Junho nodded slowly. "Yes, they did." "Why? What did we ever do to them?" "We existed," Junho said. "We survived. We grew. That was enough." Yuna sat down heavily. "What do we do now? How do we fight this?" Junho looked out the window. The stars stretched endlessly into the dark. Somewhere out there, billions of humans waited for news. They had sent their best to speak for them, and their best had been treated like animals. "I do not know," he admitted, "but I know this. I have served Earth for 30 years. I have seen what humans can do when we are pushed. The Council thinks we are weak. They think we will bow and accept their judgment." He turned to face Yuna. His eyes were hard. "They are wrong. They have made a mistake today. A terrible mistake. And one day, they will understand exactly how wrong they were." The ship lifted off. Below them, Station Orion 7 grew smaller and smaller until it was just another light among millions in the Great Hall. The aliens continued their celebration. They laughed and drank and congratulated themselves on putting humanity in its place. None of them noticed the quiet. None of them sensed the change. None of them understood that they had just started something they could not stop. The news reached Earth within hours. Every screen on every planet showed the same footage. The high speaker mocking humanity. The Morvathi delegates spitting on the floor. The vote that stripped away 40% of Earth's trade rights. People watched in their homes, in their offices, in the streets. They watched on Mars and Europa and the distant colonies at the edge of human space. And as they watched, something changed. Something hardened. In Seoul, deep beneath the old city, President Kang Do-yeon sat in a room that did not officially exist. The walls were thick metal. The lights were dim. Around him sat the most powerful people in human civilization, and every single one of them was angry. "Tell me again," the president said quietly. "Tell me what they did to us." Director Choi Min-ji stood up. She was small and thin, with gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. She had led Earth's intelligence service for 15 years. She knew secrets that would terrify most people. "The humiliation at the council was not random," she began. "It was planned. The Valari coordinated with 6 other species. They agreed to deny our request and impose sanctions before the meeting even started. We never had a chance." General Baek Sunwoo slammed his fist on the table. He was old, but his arms were still thick with muscle. "We should have known. We should have seen this coming." "We did know," Min-ji said. "But there is more. Much more." She pressed a button. Holographic images appeared above the table. Documents. Ship logs. Intercepted communications. For the past 60 years, the Coalition has been actively sabotaging human development. Technology we invented was stolen and patented by Coalition species. Trade routes we established were redirected away from us. Supplies we purchased were delayed or lost. The room was silent. President Kong leaned forward, and the colony ship's Min-ji continued. Her voice grew cold. The 3 ships that disappeared over the past 20 years, the Horizon, the New Dawn, the Starlight. We were told they suffered engine failures. We were told they were lost to accidents. She changed the image. It showed wreckage floating in space, burn marks, weapons damage. They were destroyed. Coalition Black Operation ships attacked them and killed everyone aboard. 47,000 people, men, women, and children, murdered because the Coalition did not want humanity to expand. Admiral Park Jun-ho closed his eyes. Ambassador Lee Yuna put her hand over her mouth. President Kong sat very still for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft. They killed our people. They stole our work. They laughed at us while they stabbed us in the back. Yes, sir, and they think we do not know. They believe we are too primitive to uncover the truth. The president stood up. He walked to the wall and placed his hand against the cold metal. 83 years ago, we met alien life for the first time. We were so hopeful. We thought we would find friends among the stars, partners. We thought the universe would welcome us. He turned to face the room. We were fools, and our people paid the price for our foolishness. General Beak spoke up. What are your orders, sir? President Kang looked at each person in the room. His eyes stopped on Jun-ho and Yuna. You were there? You saw how they treated us. What do you think we should do? Jun-ho answered first. They see us as animals. Talking to them will achieve nothing. They will only understand one thing. And what is that? Strength, power, the kind of power that makes them afraid. Yuna nodded slowly. I spent my whole life believing in diplomacy. I thought words could solve any problem. Today I learned that words mean nothing to creatures who do not see you as equal. They will never respect us until they fear us. President Kang turned to General Beak. Protocol Horizon. Is it ready? The room grew even more silent. Protocol Horizon was the greatest secret in human history. A project that had consumed trillions of credits and decades of work. A project that only a handful of people knew existed. It is ready, General Beak said. It has been ready for 5 years. We were waiting for your order. Then you have it. President Kang sat back down. Tonight, we show the galaxy who we really are. At exactly midnight, Universal Standard Time, every communication channel in Coalition space received the same message. It came from Earth's diplomatic AI, and it was broadcast to every planet, every station, every ship. United Earth's Federation hereby withdraws from all 2,847 treaties, accords, and agreements with the Interstellar Coalition. This withdrawal is effective immediately. All Coalition vessels must leave Earth space within 48 hours. All Coalition citizens must depart within 1 week. Failure to comply will be considered an act of war. The message ended with a list of coordinates. 17 locations scattered across Coalition space, on the Valari homeworld. The High Speaker received the message in his private chambers. He read it twice, then laughed. The humans have gone mad. They think they can threaten us? Contact the Morvathi. Tell them to prepare their fleet. It is time to teach these primates their final lesson. He deleted the coordinates without looking at them. That would prove to be the worst mistake of his very long life. Across human space, people gathered to watch the broadcast. They did not understand everything, but they understood enough. Earth had been pushed too far. Earth was pushing back in the underground command center. President Kang stood before a massive screen showing a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked the 17 coordinate locations. How long? He asked. 12 hours, General Beak replied. Then everything changes. Yuna stood beside Jun-ho. Are we doing the right thing? Jun-ho watched the map. The red dots pulsed like heartbeats. They left us no choice. They wanted to destroy us slowly, piece by piece. Now they will learn that some prey has teeth. The countdown began. Across the galaxy, 17 ships waited in the darkness. Hidden by technology the Coalition did not know existed. The universe was about to change. And nothing would ever be the same again. The Valari High Speaker stood on his balcony and looked up at the night sky. His homeworld was beautiful. Twin moons cast silver light across gardens that had grown for 10,000 years. His family had ruled here for generations. Nothing could threaten them. Nothing ever would. Then the sky changed. A shape appeared where no shape should be. It was massive, larger than any ship the High Speaker had ever seen. It simply materialized out of nothing, as if space itself had given birth to a monster. The ship was black. Its hull absorbed light, rather than reflecting it. Strange symbols glowed along its sides in burning orange. It hung above the city like a dark god looking down at insects. Alarms screamed across the planet. Defense systems activated. Ships launched from military bases. But they all stopped when they saw what they were facing. The human ship was the size of a small moon. Its weapons were visible even from the ground. Massive cannons that pointed at the planet below. A single shot from one of those cannons could destroy a city. The ship carried hundreds of them. The high speaker's communicator exploded with panicked messages. He ignored them all. He just stared at the impossible thing floating above his world commander. Shin Haijin sat in the captain's chair of the ESS Retribution. She was 42 years old. She had served in Earth's fleet since she was 18. She had trained for this moment her entire life. All weapons powered, her first officer reported. Shields at maximum. Cloak disengaged. Jean nodded. Open a channel. Let them see us. Her face appeared on every screen on the Volari homeworld. She was calm. Almost bored. That scared the Volari more than anything. This is Commander Shin Haijin of the Earth Federation ship Retribution. We are here to deliver a message. We will not fire unless fired upon. But understand this clearly. If any Volari vessel attacks us, your planet will burn. The channel closed. Below, millions of Volari stared at the sky in terror. Similar scenes played out across Coalition space. 17 ships appeared at 17 locations. Each one was a planet killer. Each one was crewed by humans who had been told the truth about what the Coalition had done. The Morvathi homeworld saw the ESS Vengeance appear above their capital. The ship was even larger than the Retribution, built specifically to intimidate the warrior species. The Morvathi fleet commander ordered an immediate attack. 50 warships launched themselves at the human vessel. They fired everything they had: missiles, energy beams, nuclear weapons. Nothing touched the human ship. The weapons simply stopped in mid-flight, frozen by technology the Morvathi could not understand. Then, slowly, the weapons turned around and flew back toward the ships that had fired them. 20 Morvathi ships died in seconds, destroyed by their own weapons. The ESS Vengeance did not fire a single shot on the Coalition's central station. Chaos erupted. Emergency sessions were called. Representatives screamed at each other. No one understood what was happening. No one could explain how humans had built ships like this. No one knew what to do. Dr. Nam Taiwu's broadcast answered their questions. It was transmitted across all channels, impossible to block or ignore. Taiwu was old, with white hair and gentle eyes. He looked like someone's grandfather. He had won 3 Nobel Prizes before Earth even joined the Coalition. He was the greatest scientist humanity had ever produced. "My name is Nam Taiwu," he began. "I am the director of Earth's Advanced Research Division. For the past 80 years, my team and I have been very busy." He smiled kindly, like a teacher about to explain something simple to confused students. "You see, when humanity first met alien life, we were amazed. Your technology seemed magical to us. Warp drives, energy shields, faster-than-light communication. We were like children seeing the world for the first time." His smile faded. "We learned something quickly. You did not want to share. You gave us the basics and kept the rest for yourselves. You laughed at our primitive ships and our slow progress. You thought we were stupid." He shook his head slowly. "We are not stupid. We are patient. We are careful. And we learn very, very fast." Images appeared behind him. Blueprints. Test results. Ship designs. We mocked our warp drives. We developed quantum-fold technology. It allows us to cross the galaxy in seconds instead of days. While you limited our shield technology, we created energy barriers that can stop anything. While you denied us weapons, we built cannons that can crack planets in half. The images changed. They showed the 17 ships now floating above Coalition worlds. These vessels have existed for 15 years. We built them in secret, in places your sensors could never reach. We hid our true capabilities behind a mask of weakness. We let you believe we were harmless. Taiwu's eyes grew hard. We did this because we hoped for peace. We hoped you would eventually see us as equals. We hoped you would choose friendship over hatred. We gave you every chance." His voice dropped to barely a whisper. "You chose hatred. You murdered our people. You stole our work. You tried to strangle us before we could grow. And then you laughed in our faces." The old scientist stood straighter. "Humanity will not fire first. We are not conquerors. We are not monsters. But we will never bow again. We will never beg for scraps from your table. We will never accept being treated as lesser beings." The broadcast ended with a simple message that appeared in every coalition language. Choose carefully what happens next. We prefer peace, but we are ready for war. Across coalition space, panic spread like fire. Species that had mocked humanity now scrambled to understand how badly they had misjudged these strange creatures from a small blue planet. High Speaker locked himself in his chambers and refused to speak to anyone. The Morvathi fleet commander resigned in shame. Coalition leaders who had voted against humanity suddenly discovered urgent business that required them to be very far away. On Earth, people watched the broadcasts in stunned silence. They had known their military was strong. They had not known it was this strong. President Kang addressed the planet. "We did not want this. We never wanted this. But we will not apologize for protecting ourselves. We will not apologize for being strong. And we will not apologize for demanding the respect we deserve." The universe held its breath. The game had changed forever. And humanity was just getting started. 3 weeks passed. The coalition did not know what to do. Some species wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to attack. Most just wanted the nightmare to end. Ambassador Lee Yuna stood on the bridge of the ESS Retribution. She was no longer the quiet diplomat who had begged for mining rights. She was something new. Something harder. "They want to talk," Commander Hyjin reported. "The coalition has agreed to a meeting in the neutral zone," Yuna nodded. "Good. Let them come." The meeting took place on a small station at the edge of coalition space. Yuna arrived with Admiral Junho and a squad of armed soldiers. The coalition sent 12 representatives, including the Valari High Speaker himself. The High Speaker looked different now. The arrogance was gone from his black eyes. He moved carefully, like a creature that had suddenly discovered it was not at the top of the food chain. "Ambassador Lee," he said, "we are grateful you agreed to meet." "I am here to present Earth's terms," Yuna replied. "Not to negotiate." The High Speaker's jaw tightened. "Surely we can discuss this like civilized beings." "Civilized beings do not murder colony ships full of children." Yuna's voice was ice. "Civilized beings do not steal technology and then mock their victims. You lost the right to call yourself civilized a long time ago." She placed a datapad on the table. "These are Earth's demands. First, full public acknowledgement of all coalition crimes against humanity. Every stolen patent. Every sabotage trade route. Every murdered colonist." The Morvathi representative growled. "You cannot prove any of this. We can prove all of it." Yuna smiled without warmth. "We have been collecting evidence for decades. We know everything. Would you like me to share the names of the Black Operations commanders? The locations of the bases? The bank accounts where the bribes were deposited?" Silence. The Morvathi looked away. "Second," Yuna continued, "return of all stolen intellectual property. Every invention, every design, every piece of research that was taken from human scientists. Third, immediate dissolution of the voting bloc that has been used to suppress humanity. From now on, all council votes will be transparent. All decisions will be recorded. Fourth, establishment of a new council where humanity holds equal standing. No more special privileges for ancient species. No more discrimination against newcomers." The High Speaker read the demands carefully. His silver face showed nothing. "These terms are extreme. The coalition will never accept them. Then the coalition will die." Yuna stood up. "You have 48 hours. After that, we will assume you have chosen war." She walked out without looking back. 2 days later, the coalition gave its answer. 5 species, led by the Valari and the Morvathi, announced a joint military operation. They called it Operation Liberation. They claimed they were freeing humanity from a dangerous military dictatorship. They assembled the largest fleet in galactic history. 3,000 warships, crews from a dozen worlds, enough firepower to destroy 100 planets. Admiral Park Jun-ho watched them come. He stood on the bridge of the ESS Eternal, Earth's newest and most powerful ship. Around him, his officers worked in calm silence. "How many?" he asked. 3,200 confirmed, his tactical officer replied. "They are approaching Titan Station." Titan Station was humanity's largest military base outside Earth. 50,000 people lived there. Soldiers, engineers, families. JUNHO turned to his communications officer. "Open a channel to all Earth forces." His voice echoed across the fleet. "This is Admiral Park Jun-ho. The enemy is coming. They have more ships. They have more history. They think they cannot lose. They are wrong. Today, we show them what humanity can do. Today, we show them why they should have left us in peace. All ships engage." The Battle of Titan Station began at 0600 hours Universal Standard Time. It would be remembered for 1,000 years. The Coalition fleet advanced in perfect formation. They had practiced this maneuver countless times. They expected an easy victory. Then the human ships moved. They did not fly like normal vessels. They flickered in and out of existence, appearing behind enemy lines one moment and in front the next. Coalition targeting systems could not track them. Coalition weapons could not hit them. Lieutenant Han Nari flew a small attack craft at the head of Falcon Squadron. She was 26 years old. Her parents and baby brother had died on the colony ship Starlight 15 years ago. She had waited a long time for this day. "Falcon Squadron, follow me," she called. Her ship dove toward the Valari flagship. Behind her, 11 pilots followed without hesitation. The Valari ship was enormous. Its shields should have been impenetrable. But Nari had trained with weapons the Valari did not know existed. She fired once. A beam of pure white light cut through the shield like it was made of paper. The shot hit the engine room. The ship shuddered and began to drift. "Falcon Squadron, cover me. I am going in." Nari landed her craft in the flagship's hangar bay. She fought her way through corridors filled with panicked Valari soldiers. She moved fast and hit hard. Using techniques developed specifically for fighting taller opponents, she found the high speaker on his command bridge, surrounded by guards. The guards fell in seconds. The high speaker stood alone, staring at this small human female who had just conquered his ship. "You cannot do this," he whispered. "We are the Valari. We have ruled for 10,000 years. Nari grabbed him by the collar and dragged him to the window. Outside, his fleet was burning. Ships exploded silently in the void. Escape pods scattered like seeds in the wind. "Watch," she said. "Watch what happens to those who hurt my people." The battle lasted for hours. When it ended, 340 Coalition ships had been destroyed or captured. Only 7 human vessels were lost. The surviving Coalition forces fled. Some surrendered. Others scattered into deep space, never to return. Admiral Jun-ho received the final reports in silence. Around him, his crew celebrated. They had won. They had actually won, but Jun-ho did not smile. He looked at the wreckage floating in space. Thousands of lives lost. All because of pride. All because of hatred. "It is done," he said quietly. "May we never have to do it again." Across the galaxy, the news spread. Humanity had not just defended itself. Humanity had shattered the greatest military force the Coalition had ever assembled. The old order was dead. Something new was about to begin. 1 year had passed since the Battle of Titan Station. The galaxy was a different place now. The Coalition had collapsed. The alliance of species that had ruled for thousands of years simply fell apart. Some members fled to distant corners of space. Others fought among themselves, old hatreds rising to the surface now that there was no common enemy to unite them. The Valari civilization was broken. Their fleet was gone. Their economy was shattered. The High Speaker had been removed from power by his own people. blamed for the disaster he had caused. He spent his final days in a small room, watching recordings of the battle and wondering where everything had gone wrong. The Morvathi were in chaos. Their warrior culture could not accept defeat. The entire military leadership resigned in shame. Young Morvathi questioned everything their elders had taught them. A cultural revolution swept through their worlds, tearing down old beliefs and building something new. But not all species had chosen war. 12 civilizations had quietly reached out to Earth during the conflict. They were smaller nations, often bullied by the larger powers. They had seen how the coalition treated newcomers. They did not want to be next. Now these 12 species had signed treaties with humanity. Real treaties built on equality and respect. Trade flowed between their worlds. Scientists worked together. Ships traveled freely across borders that had once been closed. President Kung Doyan stood at the window of his office and watched the sun rise over. Soul, he was tired. The past year had aged him terribly. But he was also proud. The delegates are arriving, his assistant announced. They will be ready in 1 hour. Kong nodded. Today was the most important day in human history. Today, a new galactic government would be born. The ceremony took place in a great hall built specifically for this moment. It stood on neutral ground, a space station constructed jointly by humanity and its new allies. Representatives from 30 species filled the seats. Many more watched from across the galaxy. Ambassador Li Yunei walked to the central podium. She wore simple clothes, nothing fancy or impressive. She did not need fancy clothes anymore. Everyone knew who she was. 1 year ago, she began, humanity withdrew from every treaty with the Interstellar Coalition. We did this because we had no choice. We did this because the alternative was slow death. She paused and looked around the room. So many different faces, so many different species, all watching her with hope and fear and curiosity. The old coalition was built on lies. It claimed to represent all civilizations equally. In truth, it served only the powerful. The strong grew stronger. The weak were crushed. Newcomers were exploited and discarded. Her voice grew stronger. Today, we build something different. The Interstellar Forum will have no permanent leaders. No species will hold special privileges. Every member will have one vote. Every decision will be made in the open, where all can see. She looked at the former coalition species who had come to join. Some had fought against humanity. Some had remained neutral. All had been humbled by what they had witnessed. We do not ask you to forget the past. We do not ask you to forgive. We only ask you to help us build a better future. A future where no child grows up being told they are lesser. A future where no species must bow to survive. President Kang rose to speak next. His words were simpler. Humanity did not want power. We wanted respect. We wanted safety. We wanted the right to exist without fear. The old coalition denied us these things. They left us no choice but to fight. He looked directly at the Valari representative, a young female who had replaced the High Speaker. We are not your enemies. We never were. We reached out in friendship. You answered with contempt. That was your choice. Now you must live with the consequences. He turned back to the full assembly. But consequences do not have to mean eternal punishment. The forum is open to all who accept its principles. Even those who wronged us can earn their place here. The past cannot be changed. The future is still unwritten. The founding documents were signed. 30 species added their marks. The Interstellar Forum officially came into existence. Weeks later, Admiral Park Junho retired. He had served humanity for 35 years. He had fought the greatest battle in galactic history. He had won. Now he wanted peace. He returned to Busan, the city where he was born. He bought a small house on a hill overlooking the ocean. He planted a garden. He learned to cook. He tried to forget the things he had seen. One evening, his daughter brought her children to visit. His granddaughter was 7 years old, with bright eyes and endless questions. "Grandfather," she said, "they taught us about you in school today. They said you were a hero. They said you won the war." Junho smiled and lifted her onto his knee. "Is that what they said?" Yes, they said you destroyed the bad aliens and saved everyone. He looked out the window. The stars were just beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, the 17 planet killers still waited in formation. It's silent guardians of a peace that had been purchased with blood. Let me tell you a story, he said. A true story about why we fought. His granddaughter listened carefully. We did not fight because we wanted to win. We did not fight because we wanted power or glory or revenge. We fought because no one should have to bow just to survive. We fought because every creature deserves to stand tall, no matter where they come from or how old their civilization is. He pointed at the stars. Out there are billions of worlds, trillions of lives. For thousands of years, the strong crushed the weak. That was just how things were. Nobody questioned it. Nobody tried to change it. His eyes grew distant. Humanity changed it. We showed the galaxy that the weak could become strong. We showed them that power does not have to mean cruelty. We showed them a different way. His granddaughter frowned. But you did hurt the bad aliens. You destroyed their ships. Yes, we did. Junho's voice was sad. Sometimes you have to fight to protect what matters. Sometimes there is no other way. But fighting should always be the last choice, never the first. Do you understand? She nodded slowly. I think so. Good. He hugged her tightly. I hope you never have to fight like I did. I hope you live in a galaxy where words are enough. That is what we fought for. That is what we won. Outside, the night had fully arrived. The stars blazed bright and cold. Ancient light traveling across impossible distances, in orbit above Earth. The ESS Retribution and its sister ships stood guard. Commander Haijin had refused promotion, choosing to remain with her crew. Lieutenant Nari flew patrol routes around human space, watching for threats that might never come. Ambassador Yuna worked day and night at the forum, building relationships and solving disputes. Director Minji continued gathering intelligence, making sure humanity would never be surprised again. Dr. Taiwu trained a new generation of scientists, teaching them that the universe had no limits for those willing to learn, and across the galaxy, species that had never spoken to each other began to talk. Old enemies became trading partners. Ancient hatred slowly faded. The forum grew stronger every year. It was not perfect. Nothing ever is. But it was better. It was fairer. It was built on respect instead of fear. And it all began because one small species refused to accept being treated as lesser. Humanity had looked at the stars and dreamed of friendship. When friendship was denied, they demanded respect. When respect was refused, they took it. And the universe would never be the same.